Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll start off with I guess this greeting, Namarni. And that's Ghana for how are you doing? And if you'd like to respond to that, either today if you would like to practice together, or in the future when someone asks you Namarni, the usual response would be Marni I. It's fantastic to share space with you all here tonight, and also share space with everyone on Zoom, and thank you for joining us. I would like to acknowledge that our event today is being held on the traditional lands of the Ghana people. This land is traditionally known as Tandanya. And of course, we pay our respects to our Ghana elders past, present, and emerging. We recognize that sovereignty has never been ceded, and it always was and always will be Aboriginal land. And with acknowledging that, we also fully appreciate and respect any Aboriginal culture's connection to land, and respect their culture and stewardship of land. Just for a little bit of context, just in case whether it's reminding for us South Australians, but also if anyone's joining us on Zoom from other lands, Tandanya, Adelaide is this region is Ghana land. However, Ghana land does extend up to the to border Pamarang Nation, which is in the Adelaide Hills. If you go south, you'll come in contact with the Ngarrindjeri land, which is down the Fleurieu. And if we go up north, we are bordering the lands of the Naranga, Nukunu, and the Ngadjuri people. So the ASBN, along with all of our collaborators, Robin Wood, and also the Mill, we pay our respects to all of our indigenous communities that we are hopefully walking together into the future with here in South Australia, but all across Australia as well. So, how many of you have been to an ASBN event before? We've got a few, and we've got a few that haven't. So, I should never assume that you've probably met me or our organization before, so I would like to take an opportunity to make a quick introduction about us. My name is Ken Long. I am the chair of the Adelaide Sustainable Building Network. We are a local advocacy group all around sustainable built environments, but we also like to think of ourselves as fun event managers, where we bring people together and have a fantastic time. We're sort of, I try to hype ourselves up, but you'll kind of get into the flow of these things. I also want to acknowledge that this event is actually in collaborations with a few other people, and shout out to Robin Wood, as well as the Mill, who actually our symposium today has actually culminated mainly because of an idea stemming from Robin. And that idea not only pulled together many different artists to put together an exhibition that you all were able to come and experience through before coming into the space. For those on the Zoom, please make sure you do come to the Mill and experience it in live, because it's a fantastic showcase of talent of South Australian artists. But this idea was to be able to create, explore humans' love of nature and the need to connect to it within our art, our design, and also, of course, our built environment. Biophilia is Greek and translated as the love of all living things. And at the core of it is a principle to connect humans with nature, and as a result, to be able to improve not only our own personal well-being, but also the well-being of our communities, and of course, not only the actual reinvigoration of our natural ecology, but hopefully also through the ethic of biophilic design, starting to create an opportunity where we start to relate and value nature a lot more. And then that way, we are always trying to create opportunities to regenerate it through the things that we create and do. Because a lot of our environmental concerns, we're hoping that a change of heart, goes a long way. And if we can acknowledge how much we rely on nature, we could probably get there. So today is not necessarily around, just me. You're not going to hear from me a lot. I just want to take this opportunity to kind of act cool in front of you all. We're actually going to be hearing from 6 fantastic South Australian designers. And when I say designers, I mean a fantastic interdisciplinary kind of showcase. We have furniture makers, we have artists, we have architects, landscape architects, interior designers. This idea that taking inspiration or integrating concepts from observing nature can be integrated in so many facets of design. So we're really excited to showcase and celebrate that all with you. So the way that we're going to play the game tonight, is that we're going to have 2 groups of presenters, presentation groups. Each group will have 3 presenters. And the game that the task that we put to them is that they're going to be able to say essentially whatever they want, in actually whatever language they want. Actually, if you want to speak Spanish to the people, you could. And they'll articulate essentially how they've integrated biophilic design into what they create. But they only have 7 minutes to do it. So I'm keeping the time, so y'all don't have to. But 7 minutes goes actually quite fast. So it's also not only ability to see how effectively they can communicate, both through presentation and spoken word, but it also kind of, I just want to also acknowledge that it does take a bit to be on almost like a hot seat presentation. So please make sure we also all go with the flow and be very accepting of all these fantastic people that have volunteered their time to share their perspective with us. So with that being said, are we ready to get on with the show? Zoom? Pew, pew, pew. I'm guessing that you guys are ready, locked and loaded and ready. All right, fantastic. So presentation group number 1, we are actually going to be starting off with a fantastic gentleman, and his name is Mauricio Herrera Villa. And he is a landscape architect at Wax Design. He's originally from Medellin, Colombia, where he was initially immersed in architectural and landscape design. His passion for plants and landscape is what actually brought him to Australia to expand his knowledge and technical skills as a landscape architect. And he is now striving to engage in community-informed, technically up-to-date and meaningful landscape projects throughout South Australia with Wax. He is self-said a lifelong learner, and he's continuously increasing and applying his knowledge around plants and design. So if you could please welcome Mauricio to the stage.
The quick bit is I'm going to present the strategies we use normally to bring that biophilia into our projects. And because in the symposium this morning, the big question was, how do we act so not only us that already know what biophilia is, but the general public is informed? How do we do that change to change those minds? The good thing is, in my realm, I get to work a lot with the schools, and that's where we tackle that thing about engaging with the youth, engaging with the children, teaching them what they have to do, teaching them how it's done, and presenting landscapes that actually have those meaningfuls. And the first question for me was, and I guess it's a real bit just for the joke, is do you know where your milk comes from, and have you ever seen a pineapple tree? Both cheeky questions. I will show you why later. But if you check up to 2019, kids don't really know where the milk from cows comes from, or how does it get there. I know, but many adults haven't seen a pineapple tree, or where does it come from, or how does it grow. So I'm gonna be showcasing more schools today. So how do we get those things in? Biophilia, the standard definition by the Britannica Encyclopedia. Like, if we are here, we know what it is. But what we try to redo is design with nature to nurture nature, for nature to nurture us. That's the key thing. Bringing nature so we keep going in this planet. Nature won't care, but if we treat her, eat good, it will treat us good in turn. That's the main thing for us. So we're gonna be showing Pembroke Middle School today, and sorry, where should I look like? Because there's a lot of cameras. Sorry, there. So the main thing is how, with a really tight project and a really tight brief, how do you engage in biophilic design? And it's as simple as making an exterior courtyard for the kids in a big school, but implementing rain gardens, showing them how the cycle of water brings life, and how those plants can then nurture us, how they can grow then climbing vines up through the facade to create spaces where they're actually touching nature. And a little bit devices where you can sit around nature, smell it, how we can bring plants with fragrance that attract bees, that attracts butterflies, and you're not all day in a classroom, but when you go out in your recess or in an outdoor classroom, be in contact with nature. Same thing with the outdoor courtyard, with natural timber, not with the plastic, not with the metallic one, with the natural timber that will age, that will change in color, that will need to be oiled, that will need to be maintained, teaching them that nature is there to be cared for, and in turn will care us. So how this converts into an outer courtyard where you can study, see the changes in light, see the changes in the season, see the changes in that ambience that the environment provides. How you can learn and at the same time be in contact with that nature. How those climbs in 10 years old is gonna be covering the whole of that facade, providing that changes, that knowledge that the vine is gonna change in winter, is gonna flower in spring, is gonna be droopy in summer, and but in fall it will change again colors. How we bring it in, and we show them that you can actually have interior spaces where you can have plants. But not only that you can have them, you can learn around them and learn to cultivate them. They have to hand water it, they have to keep them, they have to take care of the nature so it doesn't fade away. But also showing them that nature also is not only there for prettiness, you have to put the lights for it to grow. You have to put the hours to keep it. You have to put the light at the position, the caring for it. If we show that we need to care for the planet from a young age, they will go out and care for it. I'm actually think I'm going way too fast for the 7 minutes. Sorry. Something as simple as a soldier's memorial, where the brief was just having paved surfaces. How do we bring Biophilia into it? We make it with permeable pavers. Not all the hard surfaces you see today in our cities are hard in the definition that they create heat island. They can become something that permeates the water and then in turn helps that water cycle to bring on that green that you see around. As simple as something that just has one surface, one plane, you can create something that cares for the nature around it. And the best ones, one of the best projects that my office has worked on, this is not my work, this is the work of my office in which I put my input, but not every project is mine. So in this one is, how do you get the kids in school to know how do you care for a plant? How do you get people when they're studying architecture, landscape, have you ever repotted a plant? Do you have plants in your home? Have you ever touched the roots of a plant? Have you ever eaten something fresh from your garden? How do we bring those veggie patches to every school we can? How do we bring timber? How do you bring them out in summer or spring? Those types of things that I grew up in my country, because it's a rural, tropical country, that kids here are really disconnected from nature. And just to close my statement was as simple as, yay cows, that's where milk comes from. But to get it from there, the supply chain that all the kids and the youth today don't see, how do we educate them about that? And it's not a tree, it's a pineapple bromelia. That's how a pineapple grows. It's really easy to grow them at home. Believe me, you can grow them in bottles, you can grow them in pots, but people don't know it. The little kids don't know. The kids in Australia have seen pineapples diced from a can, from a tin. And I just wanted to close my really short presentation with something that was hanging in the morning symposium, like how do we bring the biophilic design as a standard or as something that has to be done today. And the thing is, we have to educate the kids to know that to bring that milk to their table, to eat that cookie that they love, there is a lot of supply chains that changes the world. We are giving the next generation the thing, you have to help us change the world, but we haven't given them the tools. That's the bit of the mismatch of the thing, of the discourse. Same with the pineapple. You get pineapple diced in a pizza, they have never seen who broke the pizza running in this weather in a bike, which is sustainable, yeah, for us, not for the guy riding the bike, and not for the pineapple to get here, not in winter. That's the big change. We have to educate the youth. And remember, it's not only the youth. According to the climate change, we are the generation that has to change it. We don't have longer the excuse of, it's the next generation work. It's our generation that has to change it. Everybody alive here, next 10 years, here's when Australia changes. If not, we don't change. There is no future generation. That's my presentation about biophilia.